That's what the program says. Program says, I should say. Dave here. How are you? Now today is the 21st of January 2018, Australian Eastern Standard Time. I will go through my first initial checks. We're waiting for the actual monitor to show me that I am live. It says everything's good. And give it a second. And then I'll switch out of that. And yes, it is. Well there you go. Change that, and that should make the stream stay healthy. What I'm doing just then was, rather than having the stream be sent up and come back to me at the same time, I turn part of the show off so that it's not coming back. So it's only going out to you guys. I can't see what's happening now. I'm blind. I need your advice if things start going crook, or if there's no sound coming through, or if the picture's rubbish. Let me know in the chat section. Now, regarding the chat section, there are a few people that don't like the chat, and that's fine. I'm fine with that. So if you are one of those people that don't really like the chat, come back in another 10, 15 minutes. I don't think we'll be doing a lot of chat today. I've got a lot to get through today, so come back in about 15 minutes or so, and it should be good. All right, now, first off, I'm going to show you something straight off the bat. If you've left and don't want to watch the chat section, you will miss out on this. Now, this is a little thing that you may be very interested in. These are the relationships between volts, amps, and watts. That is a very simple thing. Now, if you've got a machine and you don't know whether it's going to have the right current, you can, because there might be only a certain amount of information on the side of the machine. If you're 110 volt, or if you're 230 or 240 volt, like I am, you can do your own equations using that little thing. And that is great. It's the triangle. They all have these interactions. It's very similar to speed, distance, time, amps, watts, voltage. Think of it that way. That's something we all learned at school. Well, we should have. And what else have we got? I'm going to mount some gyprock on. I'm going to put a little bit of a fake wall on the Stanton bench here and screw it down and glue it down. Show you how to apply the glue in the correct manner. How to cut the sheet again. We'll go through that quickly. Gyprock, plasterboard, sheetrock, whatever you want to call it. And then we'll do a bit of setting compound and put the tape on and put the first coat of setting compound. This is an area where a lot of people go, oh, you know, I really don't want to do this. It's messy. What if I get it wrong? You know, it's a big area and I don't want to stuff it up. Well, it's really easy, and I'll take you through the first steps, as I say, and we might continue on with the top coat next week. We'll see what happens. But it's always interesting. As I say, I'm doing some work in one of the buildings here, and if I come across something and I think, oh, you know, maybe other people will be interested in that, I'll jump in and I'll show you guys how to do it. What will I do next? Yeah, so I've had some damaged sheets in the walls, so I thought, you know, rather than patch them, I just pull them off and put new sheets up. It's quick and easy, not too hard to do. I have some other things here. Some people have sent some stuff into me, some product, and I think you're going to be pretty interested in that. One is a set out tool, and the other one helps me do internal measurements between things, and I love it. All right, so I'll show you those as well. I will read my little sheet here. I've noticed I haven't done any chat yet. I'm just letting you know what's going to be on in the show. I did a workshop tour. I'm trying to ease myself back into doing videos for the year. So I thought a nice easy one would be just to grab my little Handycam, little Sony Handycam. Some people thought it was a GoPro. I let people know I had a GoPro and I returned it. I wasn't happy with it. I bought a Sony. No one gave it to me. I bought this Sony. Actually, someone did give it to me. My wife, she bought it for me as a birthday present. So I walked around the workshop with it, and it's a very, very sharp image. It's a great camera. I love it. They're not cheap, but worth it. Now, I am probably further down the track going to upgrade some of the cameras that I also use in the workshop. But again, all costs money, so I'm not saying I want money. I'm not saying that at all. I need to save up before I can invest in the better technology. And the other thing is, the live show here is restricted in its quality due to the fact that I have a very slow internet connection. Australia does not have great internet. So give it time, and as I say, I should be getting better connection in around 4 months' time from now. So fingers crossed, that will have better speed, and I'll be able to get it up to high definition for you. At the moment, we're pushing it out at around 480 pixels, which is, you know, not great. It's a little soft. So if you're watching it on a phone, it's going to be fine. If you're watching it on a TV, which I know a few people do, they'll cast the image up onto the wall, and that will be a little soft. So I don't know. If it's evening for you, maybe have a glass of wine or two, and then it'll look fine. I don't know. All right. And we've got a couple of moderators. Carl has said that he's reported in for duty, and I'm guessing there's some more there. So what I'll do is I'll jump into the chat session, and we'll have a quick look. Oh my goodness, look at all this chat. I don't know if I'm going to be able to do it all. I have to increase the size so I can see what's going on there. Too far. Okay, Carl Karcher, Joe Brown. I'm just going to say your names. Jamie Gorman, Graham Searle, Michael Christopher, Jim, Andy, Stuart Cottrell, Russ Albright. This show's looking good. Thanks, Louis. Thumbs down before the show starts. Why? Oh, God, goodness only knows. I don't know, Louis. The internet is a strange place. There's some very, very nice people out there, and there's some people that I don't know. Maybe, I don't know. I have no answer. If you like the show, if you like what I'm doing, by all means, let's all swarm in and do thumbs up for Dave right at the beginning of the show. And maybe the other people will follow on. I don't know. Amro, hello Dave, how are you? I'm well. Wayne, g'day. Jürgen, all fine, sounds great, and vision good. Hi, sounds and looking good from Peterborough, UK, from Claire. Lostwitz, maybe they didn't like the advert before it went live. Okay, yeah, well, you know, that's one of those things. It's probably an advert that you can flick off after a couple of seconds, you know. Let me get some feedback from that. I monetize most of the videos that go out. They take me a lot of time, and it takes me away from earning income elsewhere. So I monetize them, which means that you don't have to pay for it. It doesn't cost you a cent. That might cost you 30 seconds of time letting the ad run. And then in that time, what I do is if I'm watching someone else's video, because I watch everyone else's, and any YouTuber, I try and let the ad run because I know it's important to them. And I'll either make a cup of coffee, or I'll get myself sorted while I'm waiting for something else, waiting for the ad to finish. So it's your call. Let me know if you would rather I turned the skippable ads off. There's some ads will come down in the column down on the side. You know, there's not much I can do about that. But yeah, give me some feedback. Hilton Bond, morning everyone. Looking forward to. G'day Hilton, how are you? Neil Hardy, hey Dave, greetings from Bonnie, Scotland, in Essen, Ohm's Law. There you go. Greg Begeni, good morning. Beautiful day in Sydney today, all but a little warm. 30 degrees up here, and fire season at the moment as well. We had bushfires down in the National Park down near Sutherland or Helensburgh. Probably, what's the other place down there? Starts with a B. Anyway, not to worry. We'll keep moving through. Jeremy, Dave from Newark, Delaware. Stephen Wallbank. G'day, Dave. This is a break from paperwork. Good idea. Peter Lysiak. As I say, I've got a heap of... G'day, Dave. And all on board at the time. Hilton, wet season has set in up here, Arnhem Land. It's been pouring for a week. Now, also, Hilton just purchased a whole heap of new machines. And I have advised him to use something like Silverglide to protect the machine. So, because in the tropics there, he's going to be very prone to rust. And maybe some machine covers that, do they call it hydroscopic? Do they absorb water? I don't know. Lostwitz, enjoyed your shop tour, but I kept trying to find the chat. Barry Stanton, Junior Woodworking, hello. And also a moderator, Planty, 3125 Dave, it looks fine from Melbourne. Don't change anything. Okay. Zane, morning Dave, Kev Shaw. Steer, I should say, thumbs up. Blake Williams, hi Dave. Thick bushfire around here this morning. Yes, that's the fire I was talking about, Blake. Tato Bruto, thumbs up. Neil Hardy, thumbs up. Man, there's more chat. Look at it all. Joel, Romero, Rick Fouts from Georgia, English Craft, Steve. Oh, there is just so many. I'm not going to call them out anymore. I'm going to read through. Ads good, whinging bad. I like that one, Stephen. Leave the ads on. The ad is still playing. 3-minute ad? Ah, if it's a 3-minute ad, can it? Can it? Just don't worry about it. Okay, all good for Neil. Not a problem. Patrick O'Day from Tipperary Island. Good luck with the show tonight. Thank you, Blake. Fires at Bundina. That's the place I was thinking. B for Bundina. Yes, thanks, guys. Helping me out. Dave M from Wisconsin. Okay, that's going to do for the chat, guys. I really have to hook in because that's 10 minutes gone, and all we've done is have a little chat about Ohm's Law and some other little things that we're going to do. Right. The workshop video tour. It was fun. It was fun. As I say, the big thing are the mats, and the mats are fantastic. I don't slip over on the floor anymore, and it can be dangerous when you're using machines. Definitely advise getting them if you can. Even the rubber back carpet mats, if you can afford to go that way, especially in front of a machine. They don't need to be so many in here because they won't slide around themselves. With the mats that I've put in here, the ones that are kind of a camping mat, they really do need to go up against something. So you'll notice that I've got them laid in between the cupboards and right up to the wall at some point. And that gives it enough stability so that if I'm planing, the mat won't slip itself on the sawdust. So something to keep in mind. All right, 10 minutes in. Keep the channel afloat. Use the affiliate links in the description box below. That's the same kind of thing I was talking about with the ads. I don't want to charge you anything. Why should you pay? If you can pick up something for the same cost that would have cost you elsewhere, use my links. That's fantastic. If you're happy to make a coffee while an ad's running, do it. It's great. It really does help. What's the next thing? Photos from where you're watching or projects you're building in your shop. Okay, let's jump into that straight away. Thank you. Thank you. Jake Ferris just used the super chat. Thank you very much. All right, now let's have a look here. And here is Miles the cat. Now I've got an interesting story here for Miles the cat. He is from James Gorman. Now, James has sent in, "Hi Dave, I think I heard you mention on last week's live show to send in photos of animals in the workshop. This picture is of Miles at Vermont Instruments, a lutherie school in Vermont, USA, favoured by many of Australia's top guitar makers. Miles is quite a character and would make himself comfortable on your workbench or sitting on your shoulder. Hope you can also answer one question. I'm about to buy a jointer." We'll move Miles off the bench for the moment and pop me back there. "I'm about to buy a jointer and I'm torn between the Laguna and the Carbotech 6-inch long bed. I know you have the big brother of the Carbotech and I'm keen to hear your opinion. To put my requirements in context, I need a machine that I can adjust the table to be parallel and will cope with figured timber such as tiger maple or Tassie blackwood. Tell the truth, I'm leaning towards the Carbotech as it appears easier to adjust." Now I got back to James and no, just have to check people's names. I got back to James and I said, "Look, I have never adjusted my jointer for coplanar. Coplanar means that the infeed and the outfeed table are on the same plane. Now then you can raise and lower your infeed table to adjust the depth of cut. But it's always nice as it goes down to stay on the same parallel plane." Let me just put that a little bit more specific. Okay, so then what happens is with mine, there are some bolts and some grub screws, and I've never done it. So what I've done is I sent an email off last night to the tech guy at Carbotech. Tech at Carbotech? Sounds funny, doesn't it? Andrew, and I've asked him if he can give me some specifics on how to do it. And I will try and do a video on how to adjust coplanar. Now I know the Wood Whisperer did one with his Powermatic jointer, and that is a whole lot easier to adjust. Now, I have never seen the Laguna, so I can't make comment on that. And also, you guys know that whilst I do a bit of part-time work for Carbotech, they don't sponsor anything here. I buy their machines because I work there and I get a very good price for them as part of my remuneration. So I need to chase that up. So I'm not saying go out and buy a Carbotech machine or go and buy a Laguna. I'm saying that I can research this particular machine and I can advise James on how to do it. So that's that part. And I can't find the super chat anymore on my iPhone. Louis, you'll find it. Don't you worry. It'll be there. Hello, Dave. Sorry I'm late from Steve H. That's fine. Go and stand in the corner for a couple of minutes until you have repented. All right, what's the next thing? Next thing, Derek. Now, let me see if I can find it here. There we go. This is Derek's room air filter and a little stand he made for it. And again, I will read what Derek has put here. Hi, Dave. Thanks for the advice at the Canberra Wood Show. He's great. I love going to the wood shows. I got the dust filter you recommended, and not being certain how my workshop layout will be in its final state, I decided, on suggestion of my woodworking friend and neighbour, to mount it on a mobile stand. It isn't anything flash, MDF and pine, but it does the job. The stand will also hold my offcuts, has a shelf for my hand miter saw, and planes, etc. I will add some boards on the long sides below the shelf to hang things like squares, rulers, marking gauges, and the like. Not sure if I'll make the Sunday stream, as I'm off to see John Lafferty at Yellow Box Shed, who lives not far from me, and pick up some bench dogs, having seen them on your stream. Thanks for all your help and the entertaining and informative channel. Regards, Derek. Excellent. Now you'll notice on that stand that there's no brace units at all, which would be my concern. I would possibly deck one side with a sheet of plywood and screw it on so it can't twist, won't fall over, because whilst that air filter up the top there isn't too heavy, it's still a fair weight, and I'd hate for that to tumble down as it would if some of the joints failed. And a brace unit, a bit of plywood or a bit of MDF, and away you go, it'll be fine. Steve, Peter, Kemi, thumbs up. Steve H, hello Dave sorry I'm late. Pommy, good evening Dave. Glad to be able to join the stream tonight. That's great, good to have you here. Dave M, hello Dave. Matt Dowden, morning all. Jeff Robinson, enjoyed the 2018 shop tour. Excellent. Right, what's my next thing we need to do? We're powering on. It's just gone 1:15. Now, as I say, so photos from where you're watching, projects and animals in the workshop. I love them. Send them in to me, davestantonfans@gmail.com. Flick them in and we'll pop them up here. Everyone loves a cat or a dog. I'm not that fond on cats because they tend to, obliterate the Australian wildlife, where the dogs aren't as bad, especially Barry. Barry watches the animals. He watches the birds, just looks at them. He gets annoyed if they go near his food. The bowerbird loves his food, but it's good to have them around. They're good friends. Now, today we're going to be talking about how to use a benchtop jointer for long lengths of timber. We're going to address some more of my Australian hardwoods, the Jarrah and the Northern Silky Oak. This is stuff that I want to clean up. Gluing and setting plasterboard, chat, and more if I can squeeze it in. As I say, first half of the show is generally chat. All right, jump into here. Cram, I'm a little late, but we'll watch tonight both videos. Hope you and your family are well. Got to go have a great day. That's fine. William Smith, I like the mobile air filter stand concept. We'll be utilising that on job sites. Now, that's a very, very good idea. Now, I have had people say to me, especially with the shop tour, Dave, it's all well and good to have a nice shop. And it is a nice shop, and I'm very, very fortunate. This is the third shop that I've had. I started off in a very small room, and then slowly, as time went by from, when I was younger, 40 years ago, I've increased, because I have a passion for it. That's where I go with things. I don't smoke, I don't gamble. This is my addiction. So forgive me for having fun. Dave, too hot to do any work, so went to the nursery, now for a swim. Okay, Stu. Zane, my cats are too lazy to even twitch at the birds. Okay. Louis, support Google purchases on iOS are not currently supported. Okay. 70 degrees in Texas. Well, that's nice and warm. It's 30 degrees Celsius outside, which is around, 80, 83, 84, something like that. About 83 or 84 outside. And it's getting warmer. Tomorrow's going to be a cooker. It's going to be in the 40s. All right, let's get into it. Yes, you need some ballast in the bottom. Dead right. All right, now I have a separate camera set up at the moment. And I'm going to show you what it's like. There we go. I'm going straight over to the other camera, and I've got it as a close-up this time. Now, I've mucked around with the settings a fair bit. Let me know if you think driving to Auburn each week down the M4, well, that's a point, Peter. Okay, let me know what you think, whether or not this is going to be easy enough to see. We did have a situation where it was very white, and especially with pine, you wouldn't have been able to see the pine very well. And I'm going to do a couple of things. Now, the first thing I'm going to do is I have a piece of timber at the end to support this piece of wood. Now, you'll notice there's a couple of nails in it. This is the first little tip I'm going to give you. When you're pulling nails out, don't drive them back through the timber to pull out here. Pull them this way. I'll show you how easy it is. Use a pair of pincers. These are what I use for pulling nails. I've had these for years. Here's another thing with these guys. Get cheap ones. You'll find that they might be stiff, but what I did is I just sat the head in oil for a day and just kept on moving it around. And these are brilliant. These were cheap, 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 and they've lasted me for years and years and years. Just clean all the oil off, and that will have lubricated inside here. So I'll show you how easy it is. So we go there. Done. Now, why do we do it that way? There's the nail. Well, because you'll notice there's no damage has happened to the surface. That white's not great, but I haven't got splinters hanging out this side. Always pull the nail from the back if you can. I know on some of the heavier pieces, it's not going to work. So there we go. Those are out. I left those in on purpose. These are a bit of the architrave that I was pulling out. Yeah, I'm not a fan of the colonial architrave anymore. It used to be all the go. Volume dropped when you walked over to the second camera. Okay. How's that go? The audio level has dropped. Losing audio a bit. It's a mic thing on your side, it seems. Okay, let me have a look. I've come back to here, and is it any louder now? Or have I just quietened down on the talk? Or have my batteries died? Audio drops as you move to working at your bench. Okay. All right. Let me see on this one, camera. We're on this camera here. Give me a second. I will see if I can fix the settings on it. Yes. You know what? I think you guys are right. Audio. Okay. You can punch the nails through with a nail punch prior to removing. Yeah, I guess you can. So what I'm going to do now, close that one and go back to this one and go over to there. Now, is the sound any better? I'm going to move over here, and I'm going to move this microphone because I think what's happening is I have advanced settings. Yeah. Device fault. Okay. I don't know. I'm going to move this. I'm going to move this one over here, and instead of that camera that's aiming straight down, and hopefully the settings will be okay. Let's see what happens if I aim it down there like that. Now, is that better? Barry took the microwave from us. Perfect. Okay. I'm going to move this one out of the way, and we'll say goodbye to that camera. And how... Right now, let's ask... Give me a sec. I'll move things around. This is one of the great things about having you guys here, is you can tell me whether or not it's working. Is the sound good now, or is it rubbish? Okay. Well, Louis, thank you very much. Oh dear. All right. There we go. Good now. Excellent. Thank you. First thing I'm going to do is, see the contrast isn't great with this camera. I'm going to ask you one more time, guys. I've got that camera there and this one here. I'm going to bring both of them over and switch this way. And that's the one I'm after. That one working? No. Sorry about this little hang up, guys. Right. One more question. You can still hear it's just quieter and a bit less quality. Actually works great with you, with your workaround. How is it now? I'm going to give it a second and I'll just keep on going. Now, what I'm going to show you is this little guy. Now, this is a setup tool from a guy called Mirok. Now, Mirok has got a fantastic YouTube channel, and he makes these things with his, we'll turn it up the right way, with his CNC. And I had someone actually get in touch with me saying that he couldn't get the brass inserts for the Stanton bench. It's working great now. Beautiful. Thanks, guys. Don't need any more comment. So I've posted some over to him because I thought, you know, and he had to go in for an operation, a heart operation. So I said, look, I'll post you some over and you can have the things. So I sent him, I think, 6 over. And you know what? After he came out of his operation, he was so amazed. He said, Dave, I've sent you a gift. And so he got in touch with Mirok. So he helped a YouTuber out and he's helped me out. Now this thing is fantastic. So it's a square and it's also a setup. Now you'll see down here there's a whole lot of little holes, and it's designed to use with a 0.5 millimeter, 0.5 millimeter clutch pencil. And each one of these holes is 2 millimeters apart. The next line is 2 millimeters apart, offset by 1 millimeter. The next line down is offset by 0.5, and the next line down is offset by 1.5. So that means I can draw, and I'll show you when I get it back to there, I can draw those lines, which is extremely accurate. Graham, I am using the radio mic, but the thing is, I think possibly when I set the show up this morning, the mic was set to one camera, but it wasn't showing it on the second camera. It's showing at the moment that it's coming through the radio mic. Now, if I walk over here, I'm going to walk right over to the other side of the shop, and this will let us know whether the radio mic is working or whether it's one of those little cameras on the webcam. So I'm coming all the way back now, and you can tell me, leave another post if you wish. Not everyone, just a couple of people. Tell me whether or not the sound was good while I did that. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to square a line across here. What I'm making are some studs, basically. So I'm going to square a line using Mirok's device and use the 0.5 clutch pencil. These things are fantastic. All right, now I have a bench hook. Now I made this bench hook in one of the shows, and it works fantastically. Now I'm going to use a little panel saw, and this little guy here is just a generic one from Bunnings. I'll pull this back here a little bit, and I'll show you don't need to have all the fancy whiz-bang stuff. You can do a cut using a little hand saw. Done. Now, that's not a bad cut. Sound went away when you went away. Sounds like the camera mic. Okay. So that's the thing. It's my my little walk around camera is not doing it. Well, I might muck around with that, but maybe not today. We'll see what we can do. All right, I'm going to cut another one of these. Cut it this way around this time. Go a little bit further in the cut. Try and use all of the saw if you can, rather than just one little section of the teeth. All right. Mess everywhere. Whoop, wrong one. I threw the wrong one away, David. Okay, that is going to pretend to be our studs for a wall. Now I need some gyprock. Alright, so this is our sheetrock. This is a stuff called sealing panel, super seal. It's 10 millimeters thick, which is close enough to 3/8 of an inch thick, instead of being half an inch. And just quickly, we might do a cut kind of midway about here. It's gyprock, so we can be close enough. And as I showed you last week, doing the cut isn't hard. Once a hippie, always a chippy. Okay. Is that your thumb on that blade? Yes, I always push my thumbnail up against the side of the saw when I cut. Always done it. It guides. It's from before I use a bench hook. I use that part, and away we go. It's not too hard. Okay, here we go. G'day Dave, up to the eyeballs of my Renault project today, so we'll watch replay later. Okay, Ian, that's fine. So, all we do is we're cutting the gyprock cardboard and fold it right over. I should have really done that straight down on top of the bench rather than, and then I'll do a cut here and show you how it goes. Like so. That's it. Not hard. That's how you cut plasterboard. Now the back, this is the back of the board because you've got that little seam there. Okay, this side has got a recess, so it dips in ever so slightly here. I don't know if you'll be able to see it on the end grain. Yeah, you can see it's kind of wedge shaped there. All right, now this is our pretend wall. And like so. So you butt the two recessed sides together. Now, let's see if we can get some, make it look kind of a little bit decent. Now ordinarily in Australia you'll have centres of your studs, which we'll call these guys the studs in the wall. They're ordinarily around 600 millimeters apart or 450 millimeters apart, 2 feet or 18 inches, depending on what the engineer has designed. Now, currently, the fashion is to use a double top plate, which means 2 thicknesses of timber on top of the studs, and then you don't have to worry about point load anymore. When I built all my homes, I always made sure that I had point load directly over a stud or within a stud thickness. Might sound a bit strange, but that's how I did it. Okay, now we're going to screw that on, so I need a screwdriver. And also we need to use some stud adhesive. So we'll do that part first, and I'll show you how easy that is. Okay, this is the stuff that I use. It's already ready, set, go. And you do what's called walnuts. So you get a little bit of the adhesive out, and you put it on, and you leave it sit proud. A bit more there. Because you might find that there's a little bit of a bow in the wall. And I'm going to put it either side of where the joint's going to go. You don't have to be horribly neat. Okay, I have no idea what you're talking about, James Purcell. No idea. Okay, so then we just drop it down like so. And put a couple of screws in. Oop, I'm not using the right one. This is either a posi, it may be a different screw head. See, Phillips and Posies don't like interaction. This one is, that's a Posie, I need a Phillips head. Well, you know what, we'll just see if we can struggle through with this one. Ah, rotten thing. Oh, I've got to get a proper screwdriver for that, that's not going to work. You can nail them in. Where are we? Give me a second, guys. Just going to grab another head for the machine. Don't even know if I've got any more of them over here. They could well be. This one might do it. That's going to be a whole lot better. Okay. There we go. I have no idea why they brought out Posie and Phillips. You know, surely they could have stuck with just one. But this one is a Phillips and it holds it perfectly. Straight in. Put this one in a little bit deeper. And at the back. Done. The whole idea is to try and get these so that you don't have screw holes in the middle of a sheet. Try and get them so that it's in a corner or top or bottom. In the center, if you're putting a screw in or a nail in, sometimes it's an idea to break a little bit of block off and put it over the top, screw through that, and also through the sheet into the timber, because then you don't have a whole lot there to set. It's pretty easy to set it. So we'll put this one on. A couple of screws. Done. Ah, thanks, Carl. Okay, what have we got there? Square drive works the best. Of course it does. Okay, well I've got the moderators in there, and they're looking after everything for us. Ian, North America, you could use drywall adhesives from a caulking gun, but in most cases just drywall screws or nails. Well, I try to use the adhesive as well, because it also acts as an internal brace unit for the building. So the more glue behind the sheet, the more that sheet is going to act to stop any racking of the building as to resist wind blow. Bit of coffee. And we'll tip this one up to about there. I think that's the right camera. Yes. And we'll switch over cameras for a second when I find the mouse. There it is. And like so. All right, a bit bright there. Send it back. All right, nail heads pop. Yes, that's why. Yeah, I use screws if ever I can. Also, you're not smashing the frame around a lot. In some areas where you've got a very small return nib, if you use nails to drive the sheetrock on or the plasterboard on, you may end up dislodging the bottom plate and you'll get a twist, and especially if it's near a door jamb, and then you'll have the doors will always want to try and close themselves or open up, and you want to try and keep everything plumb. Now the next thing we're going to do is use a premix, which is this one. Whoop, there, wrong camera. There we go. This, as I say, I use this stuff because it's what was there in the store. I'm not endorsing it. There's a few companies that make this stuff, and away we go. Now, if you're using pre-mixed, you can't use a paddle like this to get it out. It just won't fit in there. So I use a kind of a flat blade that's about 3 inches wide, 75 millimeters. And the thing with this stuff is to get it in and paste it right the way along the joint before you do anything else. We'll flip the cameras over. There we go. You hear me all right still? Now at this stage, if you want to, you can use the 6-inch broad knife. I'm doing a whole lot more mucking around on this because everyone's watching it than if it was just a straight roll. Okay, next thing we use the paper. Then you can use an open tape just like a gauze, or you can use just ordinary paper. It comes in a roll and you put it over the joint. And don't go pushing it in too far. Just push it down a little. Beautiful. We're going to put some compound over the top as well. Now if you see any bubbles forming, it's no good. You've got to cut them out. We're going to put some more goo over the top. What do they call it? Multi-purpose joint compound. Bit more. Now in total there's going to be 3 coats. Now I'm going to use the wide, the 6-inch, and pull it over the top of it. Now, I'm also angling it like a grater, so I'm trying to force the compound back into the middle, and we don't want to put too much there. We go out to basically the edge of the recess, is how wide this paddle is. And that's pretty good. We don't really need to do too much more than that. And that's our first coat. That will dry. You have to leave it for 24 hours. Switch the cameras again. You need to leave it for 24 hours, and then you come back and put a second coat on. You do exactly the same, but no tape the next time. So, and this time you'll feather it out a little bit further. Okay. Now next week I'll keep this to the side, and you can see it, and then we'll do a top coat, which is the finish coat, and we have to leave that sit for the next week, and then we'll do a quick sand and show you how easy it is. So that there's not a lot to putting plasterboard on the wall. It's it's pretty easy. You can buy this stuff in a powder and you mix it up yourself, or if you're slack like me and you haven't got a lot to do, I just buy a couple of tubs, and it's easier to do. When you've finished, you can put it back if you wish. Make sure that you close it up straight away so that you don't get any hard parts in there that will leave a little trail as you're screening off the next time you come to use it. I think that's about it for plasterboard. We'll put this back on here. I really would love to have this microphone working. There we go. Yes, the next coat, use a wider knife. Well, in Australia they suggest you use an 8-inch one, Joe, but thank you for that. And also, when you're doing the top coat, which is the last one, they have a pallet, you know, like a mud board on a handle, and they normally use a standard concrete trowel. and you know, they mix it up. You know how like a brickie, when a bricklayer is laying bricks, he'll put a little bit more water in his mud as it's drying, so it maintains that continual viscosity of the cement or the mortar. It's the same thing with this. You mix it up and keep on working it, and then it's a whole lot easier to apply. So that's been a bit of fun. Let me move this out of the way. What a shame about the cameras. Well, that's the way it goes. Okay. Move the camera, Dave. Okay. Wayne, do you recommend bugle head screws for that? Yes. Jim, Carol, that's better. Okay. Prefer open weave yourself. Okay, Maru. Excellent. So, Jurgen, the very first coat should be a little more liquid. That way the paper tape will sink better without too much pressure, especially for larger jobs. Wouldn't get too tired. Joe Brown, next coat is 9-inch Plaster Hawk. Jeff Doherty, I like to thin the first coat and use a 10-inch knife for top coat. Peter, have you checked the wireless mic is switched on? Yes, the wireless mic is switched on. It's just that I need to check some of the things. Let me have a quick check. I'll give it a quick second here. I'll go to the settings on that. Advanced audio settings. That is the one. And let me see. Yeah, everything looks fine just there. Now we'll go over to here and see if it's saying anything. Close that. Settings over here and down to audio and mic. There it is. Enable. Push to mute. I don't know if I need to do that. Microphone 2. Oh, here we go. This might do it. Microphone default. Let's see if that makes any difference. Have we got sound? Apply. Okay. I'm hoping that that's going to... Yes, it does have a power indicator and everything is fine with the power indicator. I am going to move away now and see if we've still got the same amount of sound. I'm hoping that that has fixed it, but let me know. I'll come back into the picture again. I'm curious to see what's going to happen here. Now, the next thing we're going to do is do a little bit of jointing work on the timber there. I've just checked my list and make sure it's fine. Has that made any difference, guys? All right. Oh, using a benchtop jointer for long lengths. That's it. Is it? It's all fixed. Wow. Okay, I'm going to walk out here now. Can you still hear me all right? I'm outside the garage with a listen. Okay. Thanks so much, guys. You know, it does help if you guys give me some feedback. It's great. I'm happy. Okay. What was I going to do next? Benchtop jointer. Alrighty. Working now when you walked away. Got it. Excellent. Seem to be picking up from different mics. Alright. I shall see what I can do there. Got no idea. Didn't fade as you walked away. Cool. You know, hold on. It goes red and green. Fine. I don't want to get caught up in the microphone thing like we did the other week. There we go. Now, it should all be coming from the one microphone. I'm going to switch the picture over to this. Now, you guys will be familiar with a little machine like this. I know it says Carpetech, but it's not a promo. It's just a photo I found on the web. Now, coffee. What we've got there is on the left-hand side of that machine, you'll see that there's not really a lot of outfeed area, and I've got got one of the subscribers to the channel said, Dave, can I do long lengths of timber on one of these little machines on my own? And yes, you can. You can definitely use that. You would need to create a box of some sort to make a longer outfeed table that's exactly the same height. It's got to be coplanar with that unit. So you'd make a box that that unit would sit in, and it doesn't need to have any more fence. It's fine. But you'd want to make something around 3 to 4 feet as plywood out the back, or MDF, that's exactly the same height. So the infeed's not so important because you're going to be pushing all your weight onto the outfeed table area. So basically that's how you do it. The other way is to get a friend to come around and give you a hand. I've got some red lines happening on this microphone. I have no idea what that's all about. Anyway, there we go. So that's that. That's pretty easy. I think there's a couple of videos on YouTube about how to do it. I'll switch this back over to here. And I'm happy the microphone situation's fixed. Again, this bloody microphone is the bane of my contention. Now also, further down the track, I am going to invite a couple of other YouTubers to join me on the show, and I'm going to muck around with a YouTube hangout. So it'll be a live hangout of some sort. Now, I haven't done that system before, so if anyone has, if they can give me some advice on how to set it up and run with that, and how to invite someone else to be, up in the corner, or maybe switch screens between their screen and my screen, that'd be fantastic. I need a bit of a hand with that. So if you know how to do that, that's fantastic. Now, what was the other thing? I'm going to do some jointing, but also I want to show you these. I showed you Mirox. Look at this. See this little guy? I'll put my hand behind it. Now that is an internal measurer. It's like an old car aerial. So I can use that, put it between, say, inside a drawer, or in between two unit cupboards. So on this Renault I've just been doing, I used its big brother, this fellow here. And this is, when you pull it out, both sides, let me show you, that's a fair length. So that's around 1.2 meters, I guess, 1.2, maybe 1.3 meters. And the other side goes as well. So all up, let me stand it on the floor. It's just shy up there of my dust line. That's pretty impressive. Now I used that between two units. I was putting a skirting board, or you guys would call it in the States, you call it a baseboard, in between two units, and I just dragged it out till it was the right length. Pull it back in a little bit there. And then I took it out to the Capex, sat it on top of the piece of timber that I was going to cut, marked at either end, cut it, and it fit in perfect. Now, why did I do that instead of using a tape measure? Well, tape measures, at the end, they roll around a little bit. You've got to try and guess whether it's 3725 or 3727 or 3728. You know what I'm talking about if you've done it. These things, as I say, are fantastic. Now, they're from EZ Woodshop. Now, he had no idea who I was. I got in touch with him because Steve Ennis had said, Dave, you really need to have a look at these things. So I got in touch with the guy in the States and I said, can you send me over a couple? I'd love to show them on the show. And he said, yep, not a problem at all. He said, though, postage to Australia can be pricey. So he posted these over to me. That was fine. But just letting you know that if you do want to get some of these, and you check him on his site, EZ Woodshop, it's going to be a little bit pricey, but not for people in the States. So, as I said, no affiliation, which I saw these things, and I like to show you guys things that are very, very handy. There's a couple of other things he sent over to me, and I'll save them for another show. So, yeah, we had Miroc and EZ Woodshop. Brilliant. Love it. Okay, sorry, missing the show this week. Derek was here, and now we have Brown Snake in the yard. Oh, dear. I got an orange one a number of years ago. I used Triton multi-stands to support outfeed. Yes, that's also another good way of doing it. Steve H, would you be able to drop that bench top jointer into a bench as long as you have dust control like you did for your Capex? Yes, you could. Definitely. Not a problem at all. It's the same kind of thing, just as long as your outfeed table is exactly the same height as the bench. Nice tool. My old man would call them a storyboard. Tape measure, transfer, error. Correct. Now, a storyboard normally is one length of timber and will have markings all the way along. Now, if I was doing a kitchen, prior to doing the kitchen cabinets, I would go in there with a storyboard. I'd put a piece of timber against the wall, and I'd go along, I'd mark where the window is, I'd mark where any pipes are, I'd mark out everything that I need to know, and mark out where my cabinets are going to go. So then I could take that back into the workshop here, and I could lay out the kitchen and make sure that it's going to work, or even use that to transfer measurements onto plans. So storyboard has got a little bit more information. This is an internal measurement device. I love it. Love it, love it, love it. All right, what's the next thing? We're going to see how we're going. You know, a little bit of an interruption with that mucking around with the sound. Just dressing the Australian hardwoods, which we're going to do. We've already done, yeah, we've done everything. Just going to do the hardwood now. All right. And over here we have the jointer. So I'll bring this fellow over here. If this one will reach, I've got leads tangled around each other. Always not a good thing, though. Let's just put that one there and aim it down like so. Alright. I might be able to do a little bit better than that. How about I do... Nope, I've just killed the camera, have I? Probably. Yes. There we go. Put that back in. I'm hoping it's back. Nope, gone. Where are we? Let's go to the other camera. Is it working? Is it working? I'm hoping so. Let me know, guys. No, that one's gone. So we'll go back to this camera. There we go. We'll use this camera. As I said, I had a bit of a tangle up with leads there, and it just wasn't working very well. So we'll bring this one over now. All right. Now this isn't going to be a whole lot of fun to watch, but it'll be a little bit interesting. Sound is okay? Yes? Good. That and that. I'm going to turn the joint, the dust extractor on. Okay. I'm hoping it's still streaming. Are we still there, guys? I'll have a quick look in here and see what we've got. Yep, seems to be going okay. Good. Put my hand in front there and see what happens. Take it back to the next section. Back to the dashboard. Yep. Audio, video paused. Yeah, because I was an idiot and I pulled one of the... I disconnected one of the cameras. Alright, I'm going to... Before I hook into this, I'll show you what I have here. On the end grain, you can see that I'm slightly out of square. Now this is Northern Silky Oak. You can see the figure in it and the grain. Not a whole lot of figure, but it's nice grain. I'm going to run this through the jointer to start and see if we can get it looking good. Your sound is still wonky. Sounds like you're operating on the mic from the camera facing your planer. Okay. Picture's frozen. Is it back again? Oh, here we go. Sorry. There. How's that? All right. So you can see here. Sorry, guys. This is the end grain of the NZ. Of the Northern Silky Goat. I need to square that up, and there we've got some of the grain on it. Move this back over to there. Okay, good. Can't see me. Are we good now? All good, beautiful. Right, hold on a sec. How's the sound now? Is the sound any good? I'm way over here. Doesn't really matter because all I'm going to be doing is some jointing. So I'm setting the depth to 1 millimeter and turning it on. And I'm pushing it up against one straight edge against the fence. That's beautiful. Okay. I'll bring it over, you can have a look. Okay, I've got two. We still got sound? I hope so. We've got two edges, or a face and an edge, dressed. I'm going to run them through the thickness planer next. Release those. And tighten her up. And move the dust port from there back up to here. And I've had a lot of people ask me where I get these from. So I put a link on last week's show. Not perfectly clear audio, but easily understood. Thank you. Yeah, I'll do a little bit of mucking around during the week and get it sorted again for next week. Done. All right, give me a second. Well, let's hope all that's working. Goodness only knows. Default, default, default. Wonder if that's going to be any good. Let's try that. I stop here and there. 87, only 56 thumbs up. Hopefully that's going to work. We'll see. I'll turn on the dust extractor again, see what happens. Go. Cool. Go. One side to go, this rough old side here. There we go. Alrighty, well, that was fun. Now, Dave, first time watching live. I have Sunday off. Well, good on you. Good on you, Brett. I'll bring that camera up a little bit closer. And about there. I know, what's this camera doing? Is it doing anything or not? I don't think it is. All been fun. All right. Okay, guys. Ow, got me on the saw. You know, these things, the silliest things get you. All right. Now, I apologise for the... Oh, you got back. How'd you go with that brown snake? Coffee and keep going. All right. Thanks again for watching, everyone. And sorry about the technical problems this week. That aside, I'm hoping you enjoyed doing that little bit of setting a plaster. For people that have done it before, I'm not showing you anything. You know how to do it. For people that have never done it, well, it's a whole new thing. You know, it's one of those things that, yeah, it can be daunting, but if you hook in and do it, it's pretty easy. Do it in a room, like inside a cupboard first, and maybe if you stuff it up, it's not going to be so much of a problem. Now, the other thing is, so we did the plaster work, ran some more timber through the jointer and the thickness planer, and I think that was about it. We had some fun with the Phillips versus Aussie head drive screw. Now, some people may think that I had a bit of an error there, but I did that on purpose just to show the difference. I'm coming up red now at the moment in the picture, the reason being that camera was tuned for the benchtop, and if I had it showing the normal colors, it would blow the highlights. So, you know, a little bit of technical problems here and there. So the benchtop jointer, I told you how you can put that in another unit, and away you go. The hardwoods, gluing, setting plaster boards, chat, and as I said, send in some pictures of animals in the workshop if you've got them. You know, if you've got an animal that comes in, I've said, one person said, I've just got mosquitoes and flies. Well, you know, I'm not really interested in that. But this morning, I had a dirty big lizard. He was about this long, just running around on the floor here. I heard him scurrying on the mats. So he just hangs out in the garage and comes in and visits. And, of course, Barry. So thanks for watching, everybody. Check you next week. And also, I have a little video I'll be releasing tomorrow night, or tomorrow, maybe tonight, maybe tomorrow night. I'm sounding wishy-washy now, but because it's not something I prepared, it's only a tiny little 1-minute video. If you see it pop up, watch it because it's so exciting for me. So thank you very much for watching. Look after yourself. Be nice to everyone if you can, even if you don't think they deserve it. I had to go finding the mouse. And I'll see you next week. Bye. We'll see.